Hello and welcome to Workshop 25. Why you should go for the ideal version of your vision, even when you have no idea how to get it. I should say this before we begin. Most of the goals most of us set, we have no idea how they're going to come to fruition. Now, there may be a plan, there may be a structure, there may be a strategy in place. But there have been so many times over the last 25 years, my mind has absolutely blown because something has happened in a way that I just wasn't expecting. And so I firstly want to share that with you so you open up the possibilities for yourself and really allow yourself to sit in what could be possible for you. Now, if we are meeting for the first time, as always, I am so delighted that you are here. I've helped thousands of clients, hundreds of clients in my work. It's actually probably more thousands now over the last 15 years. But I've been growing my own personal brand for the last 25 years. And I'm here to help you make a plan and make it happen. Essentially connecting that part of you that you are blocking and stopping. It's really easy to put together the plan or the strategy or the spreadsheet or think about the idea, but I am here to help you bring it all into reality. So, why is the ideal version what we must go for? Number one, your trust, your integrity, and your truth are everything. And the reason I start here is because for goals to come in, for things to actually happen, I think it's much more likely to happen if we have that connection. And we all know that feeling when we're doing something out of what other people want us to do, or where the crowd is going, or when we're not fully showing up for ourselves because we're maybe afraid of what that means, and instead kind of just, nodding and smiling and saying it's okay when it isn't. When you allow yourself to be in that full trust, that integrity, and that truth of who you are and what you're here to do and what you want to create, suddenly there is motion, suddenly there's momentum, suddenly there's that sense of let's go, let's do this. Almost that moment when, say, you go and get your car cleaned and you sit in and you put your seatbelt on and everything's clean, everything's tidy. There's that kind of sense of like, yeah, this is who I want to be. That's the kind of feeling we're aiming for. Number two, when you go for the ideal version, your efforts will never be wasted, which is great when it gets tough. When I think about who I want to be as a parent, for example, I have moments where I'm like, I think I'm really doing well here. I think the kids are happy, we're connected, everything's going well. And then there are some really tough seasons of parenting where there is that disconnect, or they're working in a different direction to you, or maybe your skill set needs some work, and all of these things. However, if I keep that in mind of the kind of parent I want to be, the ideal version, I'm not saying I'm going to get there every single day, far from it. Everything that I do, every effort that I make, every phrase, all the time, the focus, the energy, if I have that kind of big propelling why behind it, none of it is wasted. Sometimes it won't land. It's exactly the same with business. If you think about your impact that you want to create, sometimes you'll create content that is fully in line with that impact, but it won't land. It won't connect. Nobody will see it. The algorithm will be having a day off, whatever it might be. However, if you keep that focus of where you're going, it will all work itself out. And I love it also when people have that moment where they rediscover something, where they go back and suddenly an episode that might have not done well at the time, suddenly everybody's watching it. It's quite amazing when you build that portfolio of stuff. You don't have to be ready. This is something that is said to us all the time. Be ready, be prepared, be organized, get all your ducks in a row, get your shit together, all of it in advance. Most of us are doing 101 million things. And those moments, especially when I've had it in my career, when I've had to go and do a big pitch meeting, or I've had an audition, or a casting, or a collaboration meeting, or a client, whatever it might be. There are moments where I feel so far from being ready for that. I might have had a morning from hell, everybody's crying, children being awake all night, being sick, whatever. And so, what I do though is I do it anyway. But I try and factor these tools that allow me to be in alignment of the ideal version. Meaning, when I am on my way to that meeting, I don't spend the first 10 minutes of the meeting going, oh my gosh, I've just had the worst day and the kids have been up all night, la 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 la. I don't do that. I take whatever that is, whether that's the cab, the tube, the bus, the final walk, to center myself, to be in that momentum of where I'm going and who I need to be here. And that allows me to be in the stretch, to feel that kind of lycra going on in the meeting, and to be able to show myself what I am made for. If I waited to put myself in the game, as it were, when everything was perfect, it just would never happen. It's just how the world works. And so, what we need to do is lock into what works for us and what allows us to feel comfortable throughout that process. Feeling good is the whole point. You could absolutely build the wrong business because you are following the path of shoulds or formulas or trends or templates, and like, this is what's happening in your industry right now. So you should maybe join it. We know this with fashion. There are always fashion trends, forecasts, what everybody is wearing. My nana was such a menace when it came to magazines. She used to buy them all and she used to phone me and tell me what was in fashion. And then she always used to say, I mean, obviously I won't be wearing it though. And she always was very stylish, very elegant, very put together. But she was also in integrity of who she was. She knew what suited her. She hated wearing black clothes. She just couldn't think of anything worse because she was of that generation that black means funeral. She was like, why would you want to wear black? And she could look great in like a peacock blue or an emerald green or a fuchsia pink, and she would do those things, but she still liked to talk about it. And so you can learn about other people's businesses. You can take little snippets and elements of that, but you really have to think about what is going to be great for you. And sometimes there have been moments where I have been going for the ideal version when been on path and on track, and I felt really good about it. And yet I felt so far away from where my friends are up to. And that is really humbling sometimes. Your ego wants to go, oh, you're not doing it fast enough. Maybe you should just do something else. And I always come back to this. Feeling good for me is the whole point. If I start there and I'm patient with myself and give that grace and compassion, I absolutely will get there in the end, and it will feel so good when that moment arrives. Number 5, 360 living. This is really, really crucial. When we go for the ideal version, so whether that's a business goal, whether that's a life goal, whether that's a fitness goal, whether that's a parenting goal, we have to add in all of the other parts to the mix. The circumstances, your personality, how much experience you've had, your commitment, your capacity, all of it. And so sometimes when I hear that advice about being really laser focused on your goal, I now know that feeling guilty that I can't do that, it doesn't affect me anymore. I don't feel guilt. In fact, I just go, oh, great, that's cool for you, but that's not going to work for me. And so sometimes what that looks like in real life is I go for the ideal version, I continue with the goal, but I shorten or I lengthen the timeline. I make it work in a different way. I make it bespoke so it fits me. And so this is really important. You cannot just do what somebody says to do on the internet if their lifestyle, if their circumstances are completely different for you. they are setting you up for a fail. And we've seen this, with the 5 a.m. club. There are some people who are like, I just can't do that because I work nights. And so I'm finishing work at 5 a.m. So I then have to do a 3 hour gym session. That makes no sense. So this is about you having that agency, that responsibility to go, how do I need to make this work for me? Or do I need to make it work for me? Do I need to make a different choice over here? I know the experts speak really loudly on the internet, but you having your own thoughts, opinion, agency, really, really important. In terms of the next steps, I would love to help you to create this business model that works for you. You can go ahead and book a strategy session experience. If you've been thinking about it all year and you're like, actually, I feel like I've been winging it and now it's time for a plan of action, this could be the perfect time for you. Equally, if you want to have a moment where you really look at focusing on your personal brand, I've got Activate and Illuminate for you. It's a brilliant all-day event. Essentially, you can do it in all one day, or you could do a workshop a week. It's entirely up to you. We go into every area of your business, so you can have that kind of check-in, see what's happening, see what's going on, and make some great choices from here on in. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, to my work, and you're not following along, please do so, because there are lots of brand new workshops coming your way. As I mentioned at the beginning, there are loads of free workshops on my website as well, nikkieraby.com/free workshops, and ways we can work together are all on nikkieraby.com. Thanks for watching. See you next time.